This fall, I used the opportunity of the COVID-19 school shutdown to build up my video library with videos that promote literacy skills in my classroom. The foundation of these skills were based on the idea that reading is thinking, transitioning the third graders mostly from students who just are learning to read into students who are using reading for their own learning. Each video went through a process in which a specific content area was chosen, and using the Alaska state standards, the video was built from the ground up with input from my co-teacher and storyboarding, and then the construction of the video. It was then reviewed by others for its content and its strong application. Really, the idea for doing this kind of project came out of the COVID school closure and the need to enhance asynchronous learning within my students. Students will be able to watch these videos over and over again, and I'll be able to use them year after year. In fact, many of them have been designed to go seamlessly into the library as we present content standards and show kids that their reading is their own. While the videos actually address the scope of several of the National School Library Standards, the one that I'm choosing to talk about is Explore, because this encourages students to read widely and in a multitude of formats, and to be able to write and create from a variety of purposes. The goal was not to just get them reading, but to start them into a journey of deeper understanding and appreciation of books. By getting learners to take control of their own thinking, they began the journey of reading for purpose. To make connections more robust to the national standards, I used one of my deepest held philosophies as a teacher, which is to make emotional connections to the content. Using humor, real-world examples, texts that are applicable to their world and more, and through games that were embedded in the videos. I also had follow-up activities that they would do after watching each video. Students of this age need a level of predictability and familiarity in the text that they're reading. The more connections they can make to the text, the more that they will understand it. I weaved different versions of The Boy Who Cried Wolf into several of these videos, just as an example. This allowed for the flow of a common thread and allowed students to not have to think about each new story, but to make connections to this familiar story. Our school district holds strongly to the Morzano pedagogical strategies, and so weaved throughout all of these videos were instances of gameplay, social and emotional connections, turn-taking, the ability for students to pause for regulated learning, critical thinking, and exposure to new content. To ensure that the learning was inclusive, I built on the idea of familiarity by connecting many of the content standards to things that we find around our community, such as archaeological finds or attractions downtown, and many other things that the students will be intimately aware of because of where they live. Admittedly, inclusivity was difficult because it's almost impossible to find free-use photos of diverse children reading or doing other activities. I would have loved to include Tlingit and Alaska Native students in my videos, but couldn't for two reasons. One, the availability, and the other, the cultural responsiveness, and the need to get special permissions to use cultural artifacts and stories. Over these few months, as I have been learning how to make asynchronous learning videos, My methods have adjusted and improved. I've learned how to use the software more effectively, and I have spent much more time thinking about what content is needed by students and what is the best way to present it in a video format. In creating these videos, I relied heavily on my master's degree in educational technology, my 25 plus years in education, the numerous classes and trainings I've taken along the way, and the experience with how students learn. I also leaned on several of my coworkers who are very knowledgeable in education and sought ways to improve each video experience. I would say that I am not yet done with this project, and over the course of the next few months, I will be continuing to create videos based on student learning. My long-term goal in this is to not just use it in a classroom setting, but when I move into a library setting, that these videos will continue to be useful to me as I introduce content and engage students in deeper learning of literacy. I would say that since the entire scope of this project was based on the use of technology to enhance teaching and learning, that it was a strong component of what I did. As I continue doing the videos, I will seek input from parents, from students, from other teachers, and from continued experience with the media. Ultimately, I see this video project as a portfolio of my teaching ability and also a documentation of many of the lessons that I have created and implemented and perfected over the course of several years. It is really a time capsule of my many years of teaching. I hope you enjoy watching some of the videos.